It's time for Wolo and Friends on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here is your host, the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
And welcome in. We are on Pleasant View. It's our annual remote from Dinstall's. A little slice of heaven and a big reminder to all of you. A week from today, it's V-Day. You want to get into your partner's good graces? The best way, I'm telling you, is through Memphis's most iconic suites. When you think of suites in Memphis, you always think Dinstall's. We got 5 locations, and today is incredible. If you walk in the store here, just walk in the store while this remote is on until Johnny Radio says goodbye at 1 o'clock, you get 14% off all of your candy. 14% off. Just walking through the door here. You can go Germantown. You can go Collierville. You can go Pleasant View. You can go downtown. Mention Sports 56. You get 14% off just today. So please take advantage. I just found this out. We always deal in odds, right, and in numbers. So I asked Becky, who we'll probably have on near the end of the show today, I asked Becky, what's the breakdown of men to women who will buy Valentine's Day candy? And I thought it'd be men a little bit more. 70-30. I'm challenging women to come in here. We by the way, are giving good things away, too. There is going to be a drawing later today. John will do it at the end of his show. You get a 1 pound heart-shaped box of Dinstall's if you put your name into our drawing bin here. There is also a 1 pound chocolate-covered strawberry deal that can be picked up either Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, or Tuesday. So if you win that, I mean, that's the heck of a deal. We're also putting in here a pair of 4 tickets for the Tigers in Temple next Sunday. That's 11 o'clock. You won't miss the Super Bowl. And then a pair of tickets for Memphis and Houston, final game of the regular season on March the 5th. Lots of stuff going on. I have to start the show with a bit of sad news, and thoughts and prayers need to be directed toward Jerry Lawler. Jerry Lawler had a stroke last night in Florida. He had surgery last night. We are praying for his recovery. So far, so good. But he's in the hospital. It's down in Florida. Surgery last night after a stroke. So keep Jerry Lawler in your thoughts. Good news yesterday for Memphis, or for most of Memphis sports fans. Bill Lee, in his State of the State address, included $350 million in funding. That would be for FedEx Forum and for Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium. Now, that still has to go through the General Assembly of the state of Tennessee, but most people think it's done. That money for FedEx Forum and for the stadium is going to happen. Now, the mayor's going to have to find more money. And there was no mention for that 901 FC soccer stadium that would use a part somehow of the Mid-South Coliseum. So that is still to be figured out. That does not look promising, at least at the moment, for that. The Super Bowl is right around the corner. Obviously, last night was opening night. Philly, a 1.5-point favorite. I think I mentioned, I think Greg and Eli mentioned this too, but I was astounded. The Gambling Association of America forecasts that there will be 50.4 million people who either legally, in states where you can do it on your phones, or illegally, which has been done forever, 50.4 million people will bet $16 billion, which is up 61%, at least in bettors, than they did a year ago. $16 billion. I heard another, since we're in a candy store, I couldn't believe this. Hershey's Kisses. I can't get over this. They make 86 million Hershey Kisses a day in Hershey, Pennsylvania. 86 million kisses a day. So if you're making a penny or a penny and a half, that's pretty good money every day. That's amazing. Anyway, I was astounded, and I was listening. You know, I may make a side bet for lunch. I actually have a side bet for lunch on the Super Bowl. I'll let you know who I picked Friday when J-Mo and I make our picks. But 16 bill on one game. America is definitely caught up in the fantasy. It was interesting last night to hear Andy Reid. He talked to, he's a guy that he coached for 14 years for Jeff Lurie, the owner of the Philadelphia Eagles. 14 years. I mean, that's amazing stuff right there. And now, of course, he's coached for, I think, since 2012 in Kansas City. So he's been there for over 10 years. The guy's amazing what he's done. And, he's asked about the sort of the difference. He goes, look, both are really good owners. And he has now been able to take both teams to Super Bowls. So his story is pretty amazing. I also think the Nick Sirianni story with Andy Reid is interesting because Nick Sirianni was working as a receivers coach for the Kansas City Chiefs. Of course, Sirianni's the head coach now of the Philadelphia Eagles. But back when Andy Reid took it over, I guess that was 2012, he made the decision that Sirianni was not going to be included on his staff. He had another guy that he wanted for that position. You bring in your own people, that's the way it goes. Sirianni says he was treated remarkably well by Reid, who said, look, it's not you, it's I've got my guy. But I think you're going to be really good. Keep your head up. And he just tried to be as positive as he could, knowing he was going to let him down. And it worked out well for Sirianni. He ended up going to San Diego, then to Miami as an OC, and now he is a head coach. But he did say he uses that slight on occasion to motivate him, but that Andy Reid put him down or let him down in about as professional a way as you could. We're going to talk a lot about the Super Bowl with Jeff Moore. He'll join us at about 10:25. I'm looking forward to chatting with him. Mike DeCourcy will be here. He'll join us at 10:45. We'll talk what his bracketology is going to look like. Tigers are in Tampa tomorrow. As was mentioned, they'll play South Florida. South Florida's a net of 149. They are under 500, 10-13. They are 3-7 in the league. I would imagine Brian Gregory is probably coaching for his career in South Florida. He's been there a while. He's really never delivered for them. And as a program, they have not done much, hate to say it, since Seth Greenberg went. And Greenberg was about to be let go, and he grabbed an opening at Virginia Tech before they ran him out of town. So it's been hard times in Tampa. And they've got really nothing to lose. They're going to come at the Tigers. They figure, I would bet, I think there were 7 minutes left in that game at FedEx Forum, and they were up 10. Tigers were down with 3 minutes left to go in the game and had to come back and win it. Tyler Harris at 17 points in that game. They were all in the second half. He had the will to win, but the Tigers did prevail in that game, and they're going to need to. They have had problems with Gregory's style. He likes to slow it down and muck it up, and the Tigers, of course, have trouble with that kind of stuff. So I think tomorrow's game is a scary one for Penny and his crew. They will leave today at about 2 and enjoy the fine weather in Tampa, where it's going to be in the 80s. But, that can they bounce back? Can they contain Harris? They got beat up on the boards. They lost by 5 in that game, particularly defensively. The offensive boards for USF were terrific. It would go a long way to have Malcolm Dandridge back. And I heard that before the game against Tulane on Saturday, that on Friday, Malco was moving pretty well. It's up to him, Maybe he will come back. We'll know when we get on the airplane. 90 of the 93 bracketologists that are recognized by the bracket matrix have Tigers still in the field. Lenardi released his, and the Tigers are an 11 seed. They would be going to Dayton. His matchup is against Nevada. If they were to win that game, they would head to, I think Des Moines is where he put them. Who knows about how all that will really work out. But at least in most of the bracketology, he is still in it. The Grizz will take on Chicago. Ja and Brooks will be back. I asked a coach if he had any advice for Ja. What would he say to Ja Morant going forward, knowing that he's got a lot of negative feedback here the last couple of days? He's got a huge deal going with Nike that I think we would all just hate it if something happened to that. What would be the advice? And the word came, the advice came succinctly in one word: humble. Be humble. Enjoy the ride. When you look back, you want to look back and remember the competitions, the camaraderie, which, his team has had a great deal with him, your respect for other teams, and all the wars and what it meant. You don't want to look back and be remembered for the outrageous things you might have said, or a fight, or altercations with fans, or stuff that happens in a loading dock. That is not what you want to be remembered for. Be humble and enjoy the ride. Simple words. And I hope that Ja would listen to. I know there are people that have been in his ear, people that most of us would respect greatly, that have tried to say, listen, Ja, this is really how you've got to do it. And I'm not sure Ja has been that receptive to listening. I hope that Ja will listen and take into account wisdom from other folks that may have been in his situation. I don't know if they've been as big a star, but listen and get your act together here.
Well, this has been something that's happened with other people in the league before too, not necessarily to this degree of stardom, like you said, but Ja's a good kid. He comes from a good family. All of those indications are there, but there are a lot of things that can pull at you when you get to the league in terms of like bad behavior. One that comes to mind for me that I was thinking about yesterday is Javaris Crittenton, who, same thing, went to a private school, came from a good family, got into Georgia Tech, a great school, before even getting a scholarship, and then goes to get a scholarship, and he goes to the league and gets some influences in L.A. He likes this lifestyle, and he starts to become a part of him, and it gets out of control, and now he's in jail for murder. Now, obviously, that is an extreme scenario and not necessarily going to happen with Ja, but that kind of thing happens. It's happened before in the league, not just with Javaris Crittenton, with other people. So those influences are there. Like you just said with Ja, you got to take a step back and make sure that you don't allow those things to rule your life.
And as creative, as funny as he has been on Twitter, that to me, you really got to think about what you put out there. Because once it's out there, it's not like this new iPhone thing where you can text something and delete it and it goes away somehow. That's magic with the new stuff. But if it's out there on Twitter, it may end up getting deleted, but it's remembered, and people take screenshots of it, and it's remembered for really into perpetuity. Why would you take a chance on trying to be smug about something that makes you look bad, really, that can be chronicled for the rest of your life? I mean, you really got to think about these things. And sometimes when you have been like Ja, who has been a darling, who has had nothing but success since he was a freshman at Murray State, you think you're bulletproof. But we see how the mighty can fall, and fall hard, and fall quickly. And I would hate for that to happen to Ja Morant.
Yeah, it would be very disappointing if that kind of thing happened. But like we just said, it doesn't mean it's going to happen with Ja. It doesn't mean that's happening with Ja, but there's examples of it happening in the league before, and you got to be careful about that kind of thing.
Yeah. But by the way, I should remind everybody, when you walk in the door, you're going to see us here. We got candy. So if you've never tried Cashew Crunch or caramels or this coconut thing that is supposed to be out of this world, or their dark fudge, which, by the way, has won national awards. When you walk through the door, first off, sign up for a freebie because we're giving away a box of Dinstall's candies, strawberries, tickets to the Tigers in Temple, tickets to the Tigers in Houston through Join. So put your name in the box and then try some candy, then look around and know you're going to get 14% off all day long. All day long when you come here to Dinstall's. I should point out this portion of our show, in fact, our show is brought to you by the good folks at Homer Skelton Hyundai. I've got some new things to start talking about later in the week, about some new plans that they've got going on to entice you to get to 78 and Craft Road, first exit in Mississippi, turn left. Go see my friends, Chris True, all the gang there. They've got more cars. They're coming in daily. And Hyundai, that's the best product going. The customer retention at Homer Skelton Hyundai is beyond compare. There's a reason why they do it right. Go see for yourself. You'll thank me later. Homer Skelton Hyundai. Always doing it right is Becky Dinstall's. Becky, this business, I'm always amazed at this business and how it has grown. So you've gone from making all the candy in Laurelwood to this spot, and now you're actually outgrowing this spot. It's gotten so big.
Well, the space is getting a little tight, but welcome, Dave. We're so glad you're here.
How many years is this for us?
Well, for y'all, it's been, oh, my goodness, probably 12, 15
I knew it was a lot.
Yeah.
I always enjoy it because, I can't get free Cashew Crunch all the time. Best thing in the world.
We're glad you're enjoying it today. But we've been in business 120 years in Memphis.
That is amazing. All right, so when they first started, I have never asked you this, so I'm going to ask you now.
Okay.
Was there a Valentine's Day?
Yes.
120 years ago?
I believe there was. There was some kind of a celebration of sweethearts, for sure.
Really? Was it February 14th?
We were, yeah, of course.
Oh, my God.
We were downtown.
All right, so you say, of course. How did we get February 14th? How did they go, okay, this is the day of the year we're going to make this for sweethearts?
Well, we didn't need to do a little research on the details of the background of Valentine's Day, but it has always been on February 14th since its inception. And it's definitely a day to celebrate the sweethearts, all of them in your life, whether it's your love interest, whether it's your mom, it might be your dad, it could be your children, it could be a special aunt or uncle, but it's just a time to say, I love you.
I've challenged some women, and I've noticed, here's a nice lady that's come in. Try some of our candy here. I challenged the women because you told me earlier 70% of the buyers are men.
Well, during Valentine's, particularly those last 2 days, the 13th and 14th, we will see the majority of our customers will be men, and we welcome them. And that's why we're offering this, let them place their orders early. It'll help reduce the lines when they come into the store. And we have pickup areas in each store so they can just pop in, pick up their order, and be out of here in a flash.
And if they go anywhere today, say sports, in here, they're coming. So
Right.
But if they go Laurelwood, where you used to make the candy, I found that out today.
Right.
If you go downtown, your new place, which is really cool. I love how quaint that is. Collierville, Germantown, just say Sports 56, 14% off.
You can do it if you walk in the store, tell them you heard it on Sports 56. Or if you even want to phone your order in, that's okay too. We will honor the 14% discount on at least a $14 purchase. And but everybody's going to get a pound of strawberries or a nice Valentine box. And at Dinstall's, we've got all price tiers of Valentine boxes. We start with 3 ounces. And we go all the way up to 7 pounds in a heart-shaped box. And many of these boxes are keepsake boxes. They're ones that you're going to give your sweetheart, and they're going to treasure for years to come.
Really? People come just for the box?
Oh, yeah. They'll come because the boxes are handmade. Some of them are velvet, some are satin. They're beautiful boxes.
Really?
So it's something that your sweetheart can. And you know
It's
what?
another thing I've learned today.
There you go. If you want to bring back the box that you purchased last year, we will custom pack it and only charge you for the chocolates.
So the box is then on the house.
Right?
Wow. See? I did see a huge heart-shaped one. And I think I heard that box was like $50 worth.
Oh, the boxes are handcrafted, and they're beautiful boxes. So the boxes are rather expensive themselves. That's why we encourage you to keep them, and you can bring them back. We will repack them for you in the next year or so. I have an antique box that someone found in their grandmother's attic that they brought to me not long ago. It's a beautiful pink satin, 1 pound heart-shaped box that was probably made at least 70 years ago.
Wow. Well, when you got a business that's 120 years old, you can do that. All right, last thing, tell me about your strawberries again, because you go season to season. They're always the freshest. You told me this year the states you were not using some places because they're not quite as good. I'm not going to put anybody down, but right. and like everything else, my gosh, have they got expensive, huh?
Well, they really are, and we work in conjunction for Valentine's season with Palazzola's, and they are pulling strawberries from Florida and Louisiana just for our dipping this weekend. They are fresh, ripe berries. I told him, I said, now, John, if they're not going to be good, I don't want them. He says, don't worry, they're going to be great. So he's promised. And so we're going to clean those berries, dip them in our sugar fondant. Then we're going to enrobe them in our rich milk chocolate.
I love it when you say that, enrobe them.
And then pack them in boxes, and we will have them ready beginning Friday. So you can pick them up starting 10 o'clock on Friday morning. We'll have them Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. So hopefully within those 5 days you will be able to get your berries. Now, one thing I do want to mention,
sure.
Because these are very perishable, if you're going to give your berries on Monday or Tuesday, don't pick them up on Friday. Tell them you'll pick them up Monday, Tuesday, because we want them to be the very freshest. Because what you pick up on Friday, you want to give your sweetheart this weekend.
And honestly, if you don't eat them all at once, put them in the refrigerator, right?
Oh, absolutely. They must be refrigerated.
Okay.
Because that's very, very important.
All right. Becky, thank you for having us again. I know you're going to go crazy. We got women coming in now. We're up in the women numbers on Valentine's Day.
There you go. And just always remember, Dave, nobody dips them like Dinstall's.
You don't have to sell me. I'm sold. That is for sure. I'm also sold on the fact that Jeff Moore is in the house. We're going to talk some National Football League with him in just a minute. We've moved the Family Leisure Studios to Dinstall's today on Pleasant View. Please walk in and get some samples. You will love it. And we've got freebies for you. We're going to draw for 4 things, including candy, strawberries, and Tiger tickets to a couple of games. All you got to do is come see us and try the Cashew Crunch or the caramel or the coconut. We got it all waiting for you right here. I should say, since I talked about moving the Family Leisure Studios, you've got till Monday for the floor model sale. They're changing it Monday. So you want those lowest prices on 2022 pools? Get there now. You want the best on some patio furniture? Get there now. The floor model sale only goes until next Monday at Family Leisure. Back in a minute, we talk the Super Bowl with Jeff Moore. He's next. This is Wolo and Friends.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studio, we are Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Hey fellas, Bill Russell here at Russell Brothers Fine Jewelers, and you know it's February, and that's the month to show your love. The question is, how are you going to let your most special lady know how much you care about her? It doesn't matter if your favorite girl has been your wife for 47 or 48 years, or if you're just getting started with a relationship that you hope has real possibilities. Since 1985, Memphis gentlemen have been coming to Russell Brothers Jewelers to pick out that perfect gift for their sweethearts. Young men, older fellas alike. A ring, a bracelet, earrings, or a pendant. Jewelry is always the best choice for her. Much better than candy that will be eaten in 3 days or flowers that will be tossed out in a week. Come see us at Russell Brothers and let us gift wrap a present that will keep her smiling for a long time and a present that tells her you care enough to give her the very best. Russell Brothers Fine Jewelers, 4646 Poplar at Perkins.
They say they'll get your biggest tax refund. Jackson Hewitt says your biggest tax refund guaranteed, and a chance to double your tax refund. Thousands in weekly prizes during the Double Your Refund sweepstakes. Your biggest refund times 2, twice the money, so forget about them. File your taxes on the double at Jackson Hewitt today. No purchase necessary to enter or win. Open to U.S. residents 18 or older who file a 2022 federal tax return. Promotion ends 4/2/23. Visit jacksonhewitt.com for rules.
We all know the game isn't over till it's over. So next time you need parts for your car, don't call it quits. Go to eBay Motors. They have 122 million parts to take your car into overtime. Get the right parts at the right prices. ebaymotors.com. Let's ride.
If you need glass replaced, there's only one name you need to know. Binswanger Glass, the largest full-service glass company in the U.S. They've been an industry leader for over 145 years. For all your residential, commercial, or auto glass needs, Binswanger Glass is the name you need to know. 24-hour emergency service for all commercial customers, plus a nationwide warranty on all professionally installed glass. Visit Binswanger Glass in Midtown at 340 South Hollywood across from the Liberty Bowl. Visit binswingerglass.com. Binswanger Glass.
Hi, everybody. I'm Dave Woloshin here for Homer Skelton Hyundai. I love to brag about my friends right at the corner of Highway 78, Lamar, and the first exit in Mississippi, Craft Road. They always come up with some innovative program that makes you want to just go out and get your brand new car. And I'm talking Hyundais. Right now, you can get a new Santa Fe. You can get a new Tucson. You can get any brand new Hyundai. State-of-the-art technology. You can get that without paying for 3 months. You've heard me correctly. You can get a brand new Hyundai and not pay for 90 days. This just started. It's going all the way through January. You could say a Christmas present, a holiday present from Homer Skelton Hyundai. Again, make your deal and then don't worry for 90 days about paying the very first payment, and only at Homer Skelton Hyundai.
Do you know one of the best things you can do for your employees or family's health? Provide Arctic Clear bottled water. Arctic Clear bottled water is your locally owned and operated bottled water provider. Arctic Clear is 100% natural spring water with free delivery and setup, dependable service, and no long-term contracts. What an easy choice. Call Jeff Manus today, 901-382-2363, or visit arctic-clear.com. Arctic Clear bottled water. Call now, 382-2363. That's 382-2363.
Now back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM, presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
Welcome back to Dinsels. I've got such a smile on my face. For the very first time, Jeff Moore tried Cashew Crunch. Jeff Moore was just told, oh, that's our best seller, and you're like, oh, really? Okay. He put it in his mouth. Oh, that's good. Jeff, so good to see you and have you with us here right on Pleasant View. Folks, come in, meet Jeff Moore, get some free samples of that Cashew Crunch. Register for some giveaways later that we've got with drawings and get 14% off anything you buy in the store for Valentine's Day. I hope the Super Bowl is as sweet as that Cashew Crunch, huh?
I anticipate it's going to be a fascinating game. We've got two great teams. The teams, I think, that were the best teams in the AFC and the NFC this year, which, you know, it's kind of – that's not always the case. The teams with the best records end up in the Super Bowl. So that's going to be fascinating. I'm loving the fact that we've got two young African-American quarterbacks that, you know, this is Jalen's just his second year in the league. I mean, he's done an incredible job. And, of course, we all know Patrick Mahomes continues to build his legacy as an exceptional quarterback. So I think that's going to be fascinating to just watch how they operate on that big stage for the first time in history.
I think a lot should be made of it.
Yeah.
Because I hate this about, seriously, our country.
Yeah.
But it was 10 years ago where they were, maybe a little longer, 20 years ago, where they go, you know, A black quarterback, he's not smart enough to be a quarterback.
Yeah.
And there have been so many cases now where, the smartest quarterbacks going back. I think one of the guys that was the most underrated guy couldn't get a break here, had to go to Canada, and then came back and blew everybody away was Warren Moon.
Warren Moon, absolutely. He had a great career. But, what's fascinating, too, Dave, is the history of African-American quarterbacks with the Eagles. I mean, if you look back, Donovan McNabb.
Yeah.
Well, Randall Cunningham before him.
Oh, yeah.
Randall Cunningham was exceptional. Donovan McNabb, Michael Vick, and now Jalen Hurts. And all of those quarterbacks were very similar in that they were good passers and they were very athletic.
And they were tough.
And tough. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
And that now when we talk about toughness, I don't know if you get tougher than Mahomes.
I don't think so,
because you think about Mahomes with a high ankle sprain comes back into a game when it first occurred. Now, usually it is even worse the next day.
Yeah.
But the fact that he played, now he's had 2 weeks, do you think that ankle will be any kind of hindrance for him?
I don't think it's going to be a hindrance for Patrick. I mean, with the way that he played, in the conference game, and of course, this is 2 weeks later, so he's had more time to heal. I think it's not going to affect him that much. I do believe that the Eagles will pressure him and try to keep him in the pocket because he does his magic outside the pocket. So I think that's going to be a critical thing to watch in the game is how the Eagles rush him. But he's going to be fantastic. I know he's going to play great, and it's going to be a game of a lot of big plays, I think.
I love a lot of the side stories here. And for instance, I know the Today Show is really pushing it, but I think they're right. Kelsey's, the two brothers' mother, should do the coin flip. She's got the jersey
awesome.
with Chiefs
I would love that.
and Eagles both. When she was asked on the Today Show, who you pulling for, she said, offense. Because, one son for the Eagles is the center, and the other is the tight end that just cannot be stopped.
Yeah.
I think they should do that. But how many times have brothers played against each other in the Super Bowl? I think it's the first time.
It's the first time they've been on opposing teams. And that's fascinating to watch. And man, it's got to be just incredible for their mom to be able to witness that and be a part of that, man. That is so precious for that family.
And she's become a media darling. I know their father is there with them, and you never see the guy. It's like I saw this joke the other day, and I'll probably get in trouble with this with my wife, but, it's a cartoon of an older actor, and his agent is talking to him, and he goes, hey, they want you to play this role. You're married. You're part of a married couple for 30 years. And the guy goes, I was hoping for a speaking role. This guy never talks, but Mrs. Kelsey gets all the fun. But she's delightful. She truly is.
It is.
There's the other Andy Reid. He's now worked for both the owners.
That is so crazy.
And he was asked about that. He goes, well, they're both great owners. A very good political answer, but I think it's true.
He had such a storied career, I think, with the Eagles. The number of times they would make it to the conference championship, finally got to the Super Bowl, and weren't able to win it, and then he's able to go to Kansas City and win it. But he had a great career with the Eagles and coached some great players. And, it's wonderful to see, and I think we kind of take Andy Reid for granted, but his resume, when you look back at his career with what he did with the Eagles and now what he's doing with Kansas City, it's pretty amazing.
Everybody, when they think Super Bowl, they're going to think Bill Belichick and all the Super Bowls that he has gone to. It's hard to get to a Super Bowl. It's really hard to win a Super Bowl, too, once you're there. But, Andy Reid's done it with two different teams and multiple times now.
Yeah.
Right? That's crazy. And then you got a young guy like Nick Sirianni, and the story with him was he was with the Kansas City Chiefs in 2012 when Andy Reid took over, and Andy Reid said, sorry, buddy, I got my own guy.
Yeah. Yeah, that's an interesting aspect of this too. But what a great job Sirianni has done. Just his second year, but his first year, he gets them to the playoffs. That's unusual.
Yeah.
And then the culture of this team just is so unique, and you see how these guys, they're all on the same page, and I really believe that's an advantage for them really has been an advantage through the season, but certainly going to be an advantage in this game. That, talent-wise, I think they've got the more talented players, but they seem to be the most cohesive group too.
So let's break it down. Defensively, Kansas City is better than they used to be.
They are.
But they're not as good as Philadelphia. The edge has to go to the Eagles on D.
I think so, but, one thing about the Chiefs going forward is they've got a lot of young players that are getting some really valuable experience that I think is going to bode well for them as they go into the next year or two. And it'll just be a matter, and I'm looking forward to seeing how these young guys are able to handle this stage of being in the Super Bowl, because it's different. It's not like playing regular season. It's not like playing in the playoffs. I mean, it's really elevated.
Offensively, Kansas City is slightly better.
Yeah.
I think actually Philly runs the ball a little bit better. But I think you look at overall numbers, defensively, like we said, the edge goes to Philly, but that's fairly close. Now, offensively, again, very close, but it goes to Kansas City. And as good as Jalen Hurts has been, and I'm certainly not putting him down, he's not Patrick Mahomes.
He's not. And you have to give Kansas City a slight edge because of Patrick Mahomes. He's battle-tested. He's been in these big games before, and he's won them. But Jalen Hurts he is a nightmare for defensive coordinators because of his athletic ability, his ability to run the football, but really understand what the defense is giving him. And he's come back this year and had his best one. I mean, he's improved tremendously as a passer. So he's gonna give this Kansas City defense a lot of problems because of his versatility.
How much is the experience with Kansas City? A lot more of their guys have been a part of a Super Bowl than Philadelphia. That DNA, that experience in the biggest stage that you get in any sport, I think. Maybe the Olympics is bigger. I don't know. How much of a factor is that?
It's a factor probably for 5 minutes going into the game, and then you just settle down and play football after that. But the hype, the attention, all of that gets your nerves jumping and whatnot, and you have to be focused. But once the game starts, I mean, the players will play, and I think the best team will hopefully be able to come out ahead. And, I like the way the Eagles – I think the Eagles as a team is just a lot more cohesive unit. But Kansas City, it should be a great game. I think they're very formidable.
I'll say this. Jalen Hurts, next year he's going to make $4.2 million. He'll get a contract extension. The owner, Lurie, already has said that would be the case. And what is Patrick Mahomes making, $50 million? He got that great $500 million deal.
Wow. Yeah.
I mean, Jalen Hurts, second-round pick, too. It's amazing. You look at Brady. What was he, 6th round? This guy's 2nd round. Yeah. Brock Purdy was the last guy taken. I'm always intrigued by, at these highest of levels, where they miss on guys.
Well, one of the greatest experiences for me is being able to witness the talent that comes to an NFL training camp. And the difference between the players that make the team and the ones that don't, is minuscule. I mean, so it's easy to see a guy slip through the cracks like a Brady and what have you, and then a guy get a chance to play. And that's the beautiful thing about the NFL is, once you get on the field, the best talent plays. You don't have all those political things that go into who lines up in college games. Everybody, the best player plays, and that's how you get to see the kind of talent that these guys have.
All right, you got to make your pick.
I like the Eagles. I think it's going to be a close game and a great game, but I think the Eagles just defensively are going to be a problem for Patrick Mahomes, I think. And then offensively, I think they just cause so many problems because they run the ball well and they have a really good receiver core.
Can Kelsey be stopped?
No, I mean, he and Patrick Mahomes are just they're just on a different level in terms of their communication. So all you could do is contain him or double him and try to make him have to go somewhere else with the football. But he's going to have a great game because he's a great player.
All right, couple quick things. Sean Payton, new Denver coach with Russell. He's already laid the law down that Russell Wilson's quarterback guru and his people, which means probably a masseuse and a nutritionist, are not going to be allowed in the facility. Is Sean Payton a good hire for them? Would you have given up what they gave up to get him? And will he rejuvenate Russell Wilson?
I think yes, and yes.
Wow.
The challenge, though, is the division they're in. I mean, they Chargers are going to be good next year. You know the Chiefs are going to be good again. If the Raiders happen to pull off the Aaron Rodgers deal, which I think they have a really good chance of doing, they're going to be good. So that's going to be their challenge within the division. But he's definitely a step up as far as a coach for that organization, and I think he's going to make them better.
I think so, too. I was surprised that he came out as strong as he did. You know, he's a Bill Parcells guy.
Right.
And Bill Parcells was that way, too. It was like militaristic. You're doing it this way. Yeah. It's the only way. If you're not tough, get the heck out of my sight.
Yeah.
And that's the way Sean Payton is acting, even to Russell Wilson.
Well, I think you have to, as a head coach, you have to be able to kind of let them know kind of how you see things and how you operate. But there's no doubt in my mind that whatever Russell Wilson needs to be the best quarterback he can be on Sundays, whether that's having a team that's outside, I think they'll get that worked out. I know Peyton had a team of people that helped him in terms of evaluating and preparing for games week to week. So they'll get that worked out.
DeMeco Ryans, you like that pick
for
the Texans?
I love it. I'm glad
his defenses have been outstanding at San Francisco.
They have been. He's been a great young coordinator, and I'm looking forward to him being able to put his imprint on that Houston Texans team.
Next one's a little bit tougher, and that is Frank Reich, who got, I thought, the raw end of the deal in Indy. By the way, he had a great deal of influence on Nick Sirianno, who speaks very highly of him and made him a better coach. But he gets the job over Steve Wilkes, who was the interim at Carolina, and got them to the playoffs, which was a very nice move. Are you bothered by that at all?
I don't know all the details, so I'm not bothered by it. You know, I think Steve Wilkes will get a chance to be a head coach again. I think he's a really good coordinator. I'm not convinced personally that he's a great head coach. I like what he was able to do with Carolina. But Frank Reich is a proven head coach that I think, if I had to choose between those two, I'd make that choice too.
Hey, interesting, because you and Russell Copeland both, who was a teammate of Frank Reich's, you both think he was the right choice there.
He's a good coach.
I think he is too. As always, my friend. We'll wrap it up next week in studio.
All right. Look forward
to
it.
You got the Eagles. I'm not going to tell you which way. You have to listen on Friday to find out which way I am going to go. That is our friend. He's brought to you by Ken Garland. Ken Garland, Custom Home Builders. Ken knows it's a big decision you're going to make. You're building that dream house, or you're going to take your older home with that great lot you love, and you're going to renovate. I call it renovation with innovation. Nobody better than Ken at that. Call him. Talk to him. He sees little details, big picture, all at once. Go to kengarland.com. See the beautiful dream homes he and his dad before him built throughout our Metroplex. Then call 751-1632. When you're committing like you are, he understands that decision. That's why he works closely with you. And he ensures you'll get what you should expect. Quality construction, on time, on budget. 2 generations, 65 years. That's what they do at Ken Garland, Custom Home Builders. We'll pause for a second. We got lots of ladies in the house here at Dinstall's. Come see us. We got drawings, 4 different things we're giving away. We got treats that are out. You can just try Cashew Crunch if you've never had it, or that award-winning fudge, or the caramels, or the coconut. We got it all. Just sitting here for you to try. Come into Pleasant View or go to any of the Dinstall's locations today. Mention Sports 56, 14% off. Valentine's Day is a week away. This is Wolo and Friends.
Be sure to follow us at Sports56 WHBQ on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube to watch live video of our shows, stay up to date with station events, and have chances to win prizes. Don't miss out on anything that's going on. Follow us at Sports56 WHBQ.
Los Cabos is famous for their authentic Mexican food, great steak fajitas, enchilada tacos, and unbelievable seafood freshly flown in from crab legs to shrimp, and Los Cabos handcrafted margaritas. Come watch your favorite game. 4 locations to choose from: Quince, Bartlett, Germantown, and Goodman Road. Take advantage of the Los Cabos Daily Happy Hour specials. Monday and Tuesdays, 2-for-1 margaritas on the rocks from 3 to 7 p.m. Tuesday and Wednesday from 3 to 7 p.m., Margaritas Jumbo, $6.99, Flavored Margarita Jumbo, $7.99, and House Wine, $4. Los Cabos Weekend Special is Jumbo Lime Margaritas, $6.99. Come to Los Cabos, best Mexican sports bar in town. Get a Sports 56 beer and lunch special starting at $7. Daily beer specials, all draft beer, 16-ounce, $2.99. Los Cabos, the best Mexican sports bar in town.
Simple, smooth, and every sip as easy as the last. Tito's handmade vodka tastes just as good with tap water as it does with your favorite mixer. Back in the day, Tito distilled, hand bottled, taste tested, sent to a few friends, then taste tested again to give you the finest juice around. No frills, no flavors, no fancy labels, just the good stuff. Just Tito's. For recipes, videos, and more, visit Tito'sVodka.com.
Distilled and bottled in Austin, Texas, 40% alcohol by volume, namely 80 proof, crafted to be savored responsibly.
It's O Rewards Bonus Points Month at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Shop in-store or online to earn points and get rewarded at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Let's say you need a new car, so you go to a dealer, right? Wrong. You need to go to Mount Moriah Auto Sales. Why? Because why limit yourself to just one kind of car when you can choose from all kinds of cars, SUVs, and trucks? All different years, all different makes, all different models. Really good prices, too. Now, everyone says that about the money, but Mount Moriah Auto Sales proves it. They work hard to get you the deal you want, even financing. Plus, they have a huge full-service department to help you take care of your car. So many choices at Mount Moriah Auto Sales. They're almost unlimited, with new vehicles coming in every day. Now, these are really good cars and trucks and SUVs that you'll want to drive. And yes, low miles too. It's so easy. Just go to Mount Moriah Auto Sales, tell them what you want, but keep your eyes open because you might just find the car of your dreams. Mount Moriah Auto Sales makes it all possible. Go to MountMoriahAutoSales.com. Mount Moriah Auto Sales, right on the corner, right on the price, right on Mount Moriah.
Now, back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM, presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
Welcome back in. One of our favorite times of the year. We are at Dinstall's. Johnny Harden will be here after me. We're giving away things. We got a drawing for a 1-pound heart-shaped box of Dinstall's hand-packed chocolates. We got strawberries. A 1-pound chocolate-covered box of strawberries coming your way. 4 tickets for the Tigers in Temple on Sunday. 2 tickets for the Memphis-Houston game to end the season on the 5th. Just come in to Pleasant View. Register. 14% off everything in the store today. And that's at all the other places if you say Sports 56. And we got Cashew Crunch out here. We got all kinds of candies. Come in, sample, and get a break at 14% off. We challenged women before because we found out the particulars, the stats, you could say. Usually 70% of men are the ones that buy for Valentine's Day. 30. I was shocked at that. So we've challenged the women, and the women are, by the way, coming in droves. So that's good. I will let you know this portion of the show brought to you by Conway as well. The experienced technicians at Conway, they're ready to solve all your drain problems for a limited time. Take advantage of our 83 or it's free. That's the drain cleaning special. Feel secure knowing the trusted pros at Conway Services guarantee that if they can't clear it, you don't pay for it. Call now or visit conwayservices.com for details, terms, and conditions. You can't beat any system in the house if there's a need. The Conway folks to come out and help you out. To Indy we go, and our friend, that is Mike DeCourcy, the Hall of Famer from the Sporting News. All right, let's just lay it on the line. How damaging was the loss in overtime at home to Tulane, where the Tigers literally blew the game, Mike DeCourcy?
Uh-oh, they did it again. I did not get to see that one. But that's two that they blew and lost in overtime, and it doesn't help. Memphis is not in a situation where their likelihood of a bid is at stake at this point. But they've done some pretty good work on the road against teams like Cincinnati, which would certainly have been a losable game for a team that. I mean, we saw, for instance, Penn State, which is had been in a lesser situation than the Tigers, and they went out to Nebraska and lost that to the Huskers. And those kinds of games are really punitive. So I think losing at home to Tulane and being swept is certainly punitive, but they have the opportunity to make up for that. I think if they get one of the Houston games and don't lose another game, I think they'll be in easily. But I just don't think that you can continue to go out there and tempt the committee to drop. You have to do better, especially when you're playing at home, and especially when you're dominating the game. You have to. You've got to be able to close out big leads. I call it doing the math, and there are times. I can't. I'm not commenting specifically on what was done at the end of this game, but there are times when you can literally violate the shot clock 5 times and it'd be better than taking some of the shots that teams take. Because the whole point is the clock is your friend. And if you don't manage that well, then it becomes an enemy. And that's, again, I don't know that that's what happened in this game because I was not in a position to get a chance to see it because I was traveling.
In this one, turnovers and points off turnovers hurt in the regular portion of the game. The game could have been put away at the free throw line. They missed 4 front ends of 1-and-1 that would have put the game away. And then they had the mistakes earlier. I mean, how many times, just so you know, Memphis out-rebounded Tulane by 20. How many times do you see a team get out-rebounded by 20 and they win the game?
Yeah, it's a disappointing performance to be sure, and especially given the fact that they'd already lost to them once. That's for most teams, it becomes heightened awareness. Like you want to get payback. When you lost on the road, it's a team you probably shouldn't lose to, but now you have them in your gym, and those the best teams take care of that. They say, okay, this is not happening again, and we're going to make sure that this doesn't happen again, and they go out and they get it done. And I just think the Tigers are so close to being a really successful team. And I was really impressed by the series of performances in places like Cincinnati and Tulsa, where others have gone and struggled. Even though Tulsa isn't having a great year, they have been problematic for some teams at home. And I thought that some of the things that the Tigers were doing in that stretch had gotten them past the stage where they were likely to go ahead and lose a home game to a team like Tulane. Tulane is a solid mid-level AAC team, extraordinarily well coached. I think Ron Hunter's I call him the most underemployed coach in college basketball. That guy should be at a big-time school.
I 100% agree. And, I hear the cheap shots. Oh, you lost to a Ron Hunter team. Let me tell you something. Ron Hunter is now 4 victories away from 500. You don't do that by accident.
Oh, no, and you don't do it by accident when you've coached at IUPUI and Georgia State. IUPUI right now, like they're winning 5 games a year, and he had him in the tournament because he's Ron Hunter. I'm telling you, if I were a high major program, everybody who hires looks for like, okay, how many tournament bids have he made and all that, and I look. The guy went to Tulane and beat Memphis twice. That right there, I want that guy. I think he's tremendous. And you add in the tournament bids at Georgia State and at IUPUI. You add in the fact that he won a game as a 13 seed or 14 seed against Baylor a few years back. I think that was 2015 or 2016, right around there.
He fell off his stool and broke his foot?
Yes. Well, no, he already had the broken foot, and he fell off the stool because of it, and maybe he broke the other foot. I can't remember now. But that was when his son, RJ, made the big shot to beat Baylor. Right. You could try to pretend like it was just about RJ, and it was great to have a son who was that good. Don't get me wrong, but he's done it over and over again, and I cannot. I've tried for years to convince people that guy's somebody that you want to coach your program.
Well, here's the problem for two schools in the American, especially next year. Wow. But this year, if you win games at Houston or Tulane, or forget Houston because they're so high ranked, Cincinnati, Tulane, those are, even UCF, those are good programs. That should not be punitive if you lose to them on the road.
Oh, well, it's not. But
if you lose to East Carolina and USF, that's a different ballgame.
But here's where it's punitive, because you only get so many quad one opportunities in this circumstance. And Cincinnati on the road is one. So, boom, you get one if you get it. The same with, I don't know, I'd have to look at Tulane, but I know Cincinnati because I just saw their ranking when I was doing my bracket. So those kinds of games you need to win. I know UCF is as well. You need to win those games because you only get so many opportunities. And that's why it's so important. And that's why what the Tigers did against Auburn, for instance, was so important back in pre-conference. Because, again, you only get so many opportunities in conference, so you have to take advantage of the ones that you have out of conference. And when you get a road game at a Cincinnati, you have to win. Like, nobody looks at it as bad if you know the system and know how it works. But it also, when you have limited opportunities, you can't afford to squander them.
Last thing real quick, in about 30 seconds. Is Jim Boeheim losing his mind with the accusations of Pitt, Miami, and Wake Forest and beating up on student reporters?
I wouldn't describe it that way. Also, he didn't beat up on him. He just sort of harangued him, which was totally unnecessary. And I don't understand why he does the things he does. He can be a decent guy. I've had lots of conversations with him that are very pleasant. He's been very helpful on a lot of occasions. And then he does things like that doesn't do any good. I mean, like, he knew at some point he was going to be asked about that particular player. And I don't know why the student reporter led with that question or why that was the first question out of the box. I mean, because they just played a game that seemed to be pretty relevant, and eventually they would get to that. And I'm not criticizing for him. I'm just saying I don't know why that would be the first question. But if the fact that it was doesn't mean it was out of order or out of line or whatever. He should have handled it. And the stuff that happened over the weekend was ridiculous. I mean, it on every level, the entire thing was ridiculous. What he said, how it was handled, the whole thing was unbelievable. And we get to Tuesday, and it's a big nothing burger because he's withdrawn the entire contents of his statement, even down to the fact that he had to say, well, when I said I'm in control, I meant in terms of whether I retire or not like they could fire me if they won, I suppose. I mean, like everything he said turned out to be it would have been just as equivalent as if that had been presented as a blank space, because everything he said was walked back.
Yeah, I think he's losing it. I think the losing is getting to him as well. As always, my friend, we thank you. We will talk to you next week.
All right, you bet. Thanks, Wolo.
All right, thank you. That ends our stuff right here, but Johnny Radio is right around the corner. You still have time till 1 o'clock here to walk through the door. Actually, you got all day. If you say Sports 56, any of the Dinstal locations, make sure you come in and put your name in the drawing for lots of goodies. Come in and see the folks. We want women to come this year. That is for sure. Don't forget, this portion of the show brought to you by the Eflin Insurance Team. I'm going to see Matt today. I'll get a little more info, but know that his insurance company, his team, does it the collaborative way. They protect you after they get to know you, whether that's life insurance, a home program, auto insurance. They know you, what you need, what your budget is, and you get protected. Same thing with small to mid-sized businesses. If you're looking for commercial insurance, he'll get to know you, what your assets are, what your personnel is, what your budget is. Your business gets protected. All you got to do is make the call, 901-386-4777. That's GER, because they're big Tiger fans. That's the Eflin Insurance Team. Hey, come on out. Happy Valentine's Day a week early. The gifts are coming your way if you come in right now to Pleasant View. Johnny Radio is next. Hi, everybody. I'm Dave Willoshin here for Homer Skelton.